What's going on, family? Welcome back to the Speakeasy. Listen, it's part 2 of our conversation. Of course, you got me, Ant. You got Josh, my brother. We got Tyler. We got Mike here in the conversation. And we're talking about marriage. And listen, I wanted to make sure that we continue this conversation about marriage, man.
Yeah.
And the conversation, the last question we left off with is marriage hard? Is marriage difficult? And let me ask a more specific question.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we're all probably just going to be like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, it's difficult.
Yeah.
Bringing two people's lives together is difficult. Wait, Marcia, did you have something?
No, you good. Just sit back a little bit. You're good.
Gotcha. All right. I had to ask my producer. We good. All right. Is marriage difficult? Some people, we're all going to say, yeah, bringing two people's lives together is not easy.
Right.
What for you, okay, look, we'll start in the beginning. What for you in the beginning was the hardest thing about marriage?
I could start. I mean, it's something that's top of mind for me. It was really in year one. And I mean, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head with, what you kind of said, bringing us in, which is combining two lives into one, right? Obviously, we dated, we was engaged, but now in year one, whenever you're married, having to figure out what you're going to do on the holidays, what you're doing for Thanksgiving. Are we going to your family house? Or are we going to my family house? What do I want to do on Christmas versus what do you want to do on Christmas? What do you normally do on these traditions versus what I normally do on these traditions? And it just, I mean, that's kind of like two examples, but that kind of, I just want to paint the picture for other things within marriage as well. Just like, all right, like this person has a traditional way of wanting to do things her way, and I got a traditional way of wanting to do things my way.
Yeah.
So blending that joint is not easy.
No.
So in year one, that kind of caused friction, which made us have to, sit down and have conversations with people that kind of poured into us. That kind of was the most difficult part for us in year one. So yeah, it was tough.
Oh, absolutely. What was the most difficult part for you?
Honestly, bruh. Bruh, let me just be transparent with everybody, bro. Like my first year of marriage, even a bit of my second year, there was a lot of things that we had to work through. And I think ultimately it just came down to like us being different people. Mm-hmm. And like when you married to somebody, yeah, I'll just speak for myself. Like I looked at things like if I saw something little that like bothered me, I thought like, yo, you're gonna continue to do this, and we're married forever. So it's like you're gonna continue to do this, and this is gonna continue to make me feel this way, and that's gonna really piss me off. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's like I focused on a lot of little stupid stuff that I shouldn't have focused on. Mm-hmm. That I had to actually like get counsel to like understand like, yo, like first of all, how you to sum it all up. Period. The hardest part about marriage for us was how we think about certain things. Yeah, our perspective is not just the only perspective. You know what I mean? It's like how I think, even though this is how I've been, it don't make it right. You know what I mean? Like just because this is how long I've been thinking this, or like just because all of who we are is made up by experiences and life experiences that we've been through and people that we've been around and things like that. So it's like there's perspectives that I had on things that was based off of, getting evicted or, not having enough money to do this or do that. You know what I mean? And it's just like certain things are amplified for me off of that because of my experiences. Same thing for her. It's just like, there are certain things that really pissed her off and that really bothered her off of her experiences. And so for me, it's just kind of like, it's hard to empathize with somebody when you don't feel the same way that they feel. Right. And so it's like we bumped heads a lot on things that like I was aggravated about that wasn't right on my end, and things that she was aggravated about that necessarily wasn't right on her end. So it was like us figuring out like, yo, there's some things that we think that just ain't gonna work if we're gonna be together long term. Mm-hmm. We gotta understand like, yo, that actually was dysfunctional. That actually is not the right way to think about this or the right way to look at this if we're gonna agree and move forward. And so, Yeah, I think that's just the main thing that was like the hardest part for us is like figuring out like, yo, the right way to think about certain situations.
Right.
Yeah.
And it sounded like you were kind of picking every battle.
Yeah.
It was like every battle that you were seeing, it was just like, oh no, let me nip that in the bud right away.
Yeah,
You
let me
know,
pull out my sword.
Yeah,
You
you know
gotta
what I'm
get-
saying?
Right.
Yeah, I'm saying, let me.
And she gets stabbed so many times. It's like at some point she feel like she bleeding out, and it's just
Yeah.
like, yo, I don't like get to a point where it's like, yo, like I just feel like this is not even really serving me no more.
And do you
know what I
even
mean?
like me?
Yeah, exactly. Do you even like me?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like that wasn't the case. But when you do that, and when somebody feels like they can't ever get something right, you know what I mean? It's like that's how it feels.
Right.
You know.
And to even, you know, what I said in the beginning, what Mike even shared, like combining two worlds, two
Right.
backgrounds, two
Right.
experiences in the beginning. And,
Right.
I mean, Bree was kind of like the only child almost
yeah,
for a
yeah,
while.
yeah.
And it was like she may have been given the world.
Yeah.
Whereas you're talking about evictions and poverty. You're in a place where it's like, my parents didn't have a world to give me.
Right.
You're giving the world. My parents didn't have a world to
Right.
give me,
Right.
and we're coming together.
Right.
And so we're coming together, and I'm the man in your life, and you're expecting the world.
Right.
Where I'm like, I'm just trying to make sure I have a world to give.
That's a fact. And I mean, like,
that is
don't get
true.
me wrong. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, you know, Bree grew up in some struggles too. You know what I mean? Like, she saw some lack of funds and things like that too. But it's different. It's different
As a
seeing
kid.
that as an only child,
Yeah.
where you're the only one that your parents are responsible for, versus being in a home with 4 other kids. You know what I mean? It's like when you're in a home with 4 other kids, it's even more amplified. Like when you
Absolutely.
like, you know, and there's just moments that I saw that she may have saw maybe a sample size of, but not quite to my level.
Right.
So there's certain things that wasn't as important to her
Right.
as it was to me.
Right.
You know, and so like getting to a place where like we both understand where we're coming from, but understand like, okay, how can we move forward from where we are in our
Right.
space and what we know that we're gonna do together.
Right.
That definitely was a place that we had to get to of agreement.
Yeah, that's really good.
Right.
Ty, how about you, bro?
Yeah, I think for me, the most challenging part about our marriage when we first got married and we started living together was when I look back on it, it was always around finances. Always. It was never for my marriage, it was never about like how she was.
Yeah.
Never about how I was.
Yeah.
We really enjoy being around each other and we enjoy each other's company. There was always just stress around finances and how that stress was communicated. And I think for me, one of the biggest challenges for me was trying to help her understand the stress that it causes me as a man, as someone who views themselves as a provider, as someone who is responsible for the bills getting paid. Obviously, we both have jobs, but if we get evicted, it's on me.
Right.
It's really on me.
Yeah.
It's not really on her. It's on me as the husband. Being able to communicate to her the everyday stresses that I would go through just thinking about those things. Like maybe not necessarily making enough money. It feels like we have more bills than we have income, and just having to call Duke Energy and have to figure out how can I set up a payment plan, or some bills got to be paid late and I'm doing the math in my head and it's like, well, I get paid on the 15th, but before the 15th, this, and this got to get paid, and it's just not adding up. So I got to make phone calls and make adjustments and adjust our budget. That's stressful.
Yeah.
That is stressful
Fact.
as a man.
Fact.
Because you know one of the ways that you love, protect, and serve your wife is by making sure that there's a roof over y'all's head.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That is, at least for me.
Facts.
At
It's
least
true.
for me. So, and I also grew up in a situation where me, my mom, my sister, my parents got separated and we lost the house that we were living in. And I was homeless. I had to stay with a friend and literally live in a crawl space. I had to sleep in a crawl space. And so that created a trauma
Yeah.
that I knew, like when I become an adult and when I get married, I don't want my wife, I don't want my children to go through what I went through.
Yeah.
In a way, it's a blessing because I learned from Pastor Andy, your trauma is what gives you your superpowers.
Yeah.
Your origin story is what gives you your superpowers. So it's created a good work ethic in me where these bills are going to get paid.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, like there have been times where there's been a lot of stress, and from a male perspective, sometimes it's hard to communicate that to the woman that you're with, because if you share too much information about that stress, then it makes her more stressed than she should be.
Right.
Yeah.
And so there have been arguments about finances and stress, and we can't afford to do this, or we shouldn't do that because we got to pay this. And so that was really the common denominator in a lot of the struggle that we experienced as newlyweds.
Yeah. And part of the reason why you don't want to, it feels like for us anyway, we don't want to share that is because we want you to feel safe.
Right.
We want our wives to feel safe.
Right. I want you to feel like I'm your rock.
I'm your rock. Everything's going to be okay. Bills may be late. I may have to make some calls. I may have to move some things around. But at the end of the day, we're going to be good.
Right.
And the minute it's like being on a plane and there's turbulence.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And on the plane when there's turbulence, you're sitting there as a passenger and there's turbulence. When the flight attendants start getting worried, you're like, oh, hold on, wait a minute now.
Right.
Now, if they're chilling, if they're good, you're like, oh, we good.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? There's turbulence, but we good. But if a flight attendant starts,
You're like, hey,
hold on,
Jesus, take the
you
wheel.
start
Give me a
getting on your
parachute.
knees and
Right.
praying.
Right.
You start realizing, oh, wait a minute, that flight attendant can't protect.
Right.
If this plane going down, if the pilot now goes on the intercom and starts being worried, it's over for it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's over for it because the people that you entrust in this situation, if they start worrying, then you start worrying even more.
Right.
And so we a lot of times bear that responsibility and bear that weight and bear that worry, making sure like, hey, we want to make sure you're good, which is why a lot of times as men, we don't necessarily want to go into a marriage reluctantly or unprepared because we understand the weight that comes from, we're going to have to take on the brunt of this, right? Like if I have bad spending habits and you have bad spending habits and I'm not making enough money, it is scary to walk into a marriage unsure of how we're gonna do this and bills are gonna get paid. And it is just, bro, I resonate with that so well. For me, it wasn't necessarily my first year marriage that the financial stuff came about or whatever. Like I had a very low mortgage. My first house,
it was good.
I had a good mortgage. You know what I'm saying? The market has skyrocketed since, but my God, the hardest part for us in our marriage in the very beginning was family. It was family for us, right? Like when me and Kira first were dating for real, I met her family. And listen, I'm the Christian guy, right? Like I'm the guy who was like in ministry doing like all the right things, and like I've never had issues with family ever.
Right.
I've had women's like their moms like tell their daughters, the Lord told me that's your husband.
Oh wow.
Which I was like, God didn't tell me that, bro. Like, hold on, like we got some time, bro. Like, I gotta get to know you, right? I've only ever received really good feedback from families. Moms love me, dads love me. I'm the guy that they were praying for. When I met my wife, her parents were like, "And what's your plan? What's this? What's that? You stay over here sometimes? Like you slept over in this apartment?" And her dad was like, "In this apartment that I helped pay for?"
Yeah.
I remember one time, right? Like we had one of our first meetings. We're sitting all sitting at a table, and he's like going in, like he's just like. He's just pumping up his chest like, so you can't stay up in this apartment. My name's on this apartment. Like going in, I'm just like, I don't. He just like, and he pulled one of these. He said, "You got anything? You got clothes here? You got clothes here? You got clothes here in the drawer? Do you have He was like, Anthony, do you have any clothes in this apartment that I pay for? I said, no, sir, I have a house.
Ooh.
I said, I have a mortgage. I have a house that I pay for. My clothes are there. He was like, oh, okay. But then he started getting real antsy about like he just started trying to pick up what's your plan, what you doing, and I'm young, like I'm still trying to figure it out. Like you know what I'm saying? I had actually recently got laid off on my job because of COVID and all this stuff that happened, and I'm still figuring out. This is before I got my tech job. This is before things happened. And I'm just like, this is my vision. I always had a vision. I knew where I wanted to go. I knew what I wanted to be. And I'm like, shoot, I already made an investment. I got a crib. Like, listen, she'll be out of this apartment. She'll be at a crib, like, you know what I'm saying? And paying less than what she's paying in this apartment for my house. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I got the mortgage, so you ain't got to worry about that. I'm already paying it, right? And so I had a plan, but he wasn't rocking with me. My wife's father did not show up to the wedding.
Wow.
And you guys were all my groomsmen.
We were all there.
Yeah.
You were all my groomsmen. So am I lying?
The brother in me is a little pissed off right now. I ain't gonna hold you,
No.
but I'm chilling. Shout out.
Did not show up to the wedding. Did not walk my wife down the aisle.
I remember that.
My wife had to walk herself down the aisle, and I had to walk with her through the pain, leading up to the wedding, through the pain of knowing her father wasn't going to come because he called her and said, I'm not coming.
Man.
And so I had to watch her bawl crying through that entire process, all because he didn't feel appreciated. I asked him, I talked to him about proposing, like all the things. Like I went up to the house before I proposed, told him what my plans were, all of that. He was just like, well, you're going to do it anyway, so just might as well go ahead and do it. Like, y'all made a choice, go for it. Like, and it was some of the most painful, like, and for me, like my mama, you know, my daddy got deported. You know, y'all know that story. My daddy got deported. He's in Jamaica. But my mama, when she met Kiera, was like, you're my daughter.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did that make you feel, his response?
Oh my God. Like, first of all, it was just shocking.
Yeah.
And maybe I didn't realize I was a little self-righteous. Maybe I didn't realize, like, I thought, first of all, I think the world of myself. Sorry.
As you should.
I do.
Yeah.
I think the world of myself. I think I'm pretty great.
Yeah.
And so for people that are the parents of my girl, soon to be fiance, soon to be spouse, don't think I'm great. I'm like, what's wrong with y'all? I never thought
Not what's wrong with me.
No, not what's wrong with
Right.
me. Oh, I'm sorry.
Right.
My mama instilled too much confidence in me
Right,
over
right,
years.
right,
It's embedded, right? It was
Right.
my spiritual dad. You talk about PA a lot.
Right.
Like that, I mean, absolutely. That's my, like, I got too much. I know who I am.
Right. Yeah.
There's something wrong with you.
Right.
And for me, it was like, but realizing that my wife is dealing with, I have to choose this man over my family.
Wow.
I have to choose this man over my father.
Wow.
Yeah.
And like realizing she has to deal with that struggle was really hard for me because I am a person and I believe if you have somebody in your life that's making you choose them over your family, they're manipulative and they're trying to control your life.
Right.
Yeah.
Where for me, I'm like, no, I always wanted my wife, if she had a dad, to have her dad in her life.
Yeah.
And to have a relationship with him. And I wanted to have a relationship with him. And, you know, my dad wasn't always, I wanted to have a relationship with myself. I had this fantasy in my mind about what it was going to be, and it was never that.
Right.
And I had to deal with the fact that the fantasy in my mind of what that relationship was going to be was never going to happen. And that her relationship with her father was never going to be the same. And that's partly because of me.
That's a
deep.
lot. That's a
That's
lot.
tough, bro.
That's a lot.
That's tough.
That's a lot.
I watched my wife walk down the aisle by herself. And I had to do my best to gather all the people that I loved around her.
Right.
To reassure her and let her know she's making the right decision and let her know that she's good and that she's supported and all that. That is heavy.
Right.
Yeah. Facts.
How much more does that say about how much she loves you?
Man.
Facts, bro. Yeah. That's
She picks you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
bro.
crazy.
That's very
That's a
heavy.
lot.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
it was extremely difficult for us, and we still had to navigate that. We were having all these meetings, and we would have meetings with the parents. I would think it would feel like things are great.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, like it's a new, like we took pictures together. I took pictures with her dad. Like everything was good. And before you know it, like things are bad again. And I'm like, what happened? And I realized I can't change people.
You can't.
Right.
I don't know what the struggles were. I'm not a counselor. I'm not a psychologist. And I'm not interested in trying to be one.
Yep.
I have a marriage to build. I have a family to build. I have a legacy to build.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what I'm going to focus on.
Facts.
And she had to work on it with her counselor. But that was also part of it. It was like I had to go to counseling for my stuff. She had to go to counseling for her stuff.
Yeah.
And like so that it wouldn't spill into our marriage because sometimes it would.
Facts. Let's talk about counseling, bro. Because I mean, same here, bro. Like, I had to go to counseling, and she had to go to counseling. You know, and then we went to marriage counseling together because at the end of the day, like, you know, we talking about marriage is hard, right? Like, when you think about the fact that y'all are separate people who just ended up bringing your lives together, like everything ain't just gonna be peaches and cream. That's just not how it goes. Like, it's going to be. Like, I say personally for myself, like, marriage is the best, like, it's the best thing I've ever done, but it's also the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. For sure.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and the reason why it's so hard is because it forces you, if you really love that person, you really, like, are true to that commitment, it forces you to work on your shit.
Yes.
Like, it forces you to work on yourself for real.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, not just play, not just go have a quick conversation. No, like I ended up going to, I remember sitting across from PA. I remember sitting across from PA, and literally, this is the only thing he had to say to me.
We got to bring PA on here. We talking about
facts,
him.
facts.
We talking about
I'm
Too Hot Pop. You got to come on soon.
This is where we get a lot of our wisdom
Yeah.
from.
So I was talking to Pop, and Pop said something. It was so simple, but like
Right.
it was in the midst of the conversation. I don't even remember specifically what I said, but he was just like, "You a different nigga than me," and I was just like, I mean, and I look up to him, and I'm just like, you know what? You right, I am, and it's like, but I admired the way that he had success in his marriage, and the way that he communicated like what needed to be done to like cater to her, but also the things that needed to be done to cater to me.
Right.
You know what I mean, it's not like he ever talked on one side. You know what I mean? He always
Right.
brought it on both sides on like what is important and what makes sense, right?
Full circle, yeah.
And so he told me, he was just like, dude, you need to go to counseling. He was like, you need to deal with your stuff. You need to go to counseling. And like at the end of the day, like that's what I had to do. That's what I decided to do. Like, and so I went to counseling, and that was the best thing I could have done for myself because, you know, I felt like, you know, when you have a perspective about things, you think you're right.
You absolutely.
You just think you're right. Like, you gonna die on that hill. But it's like, when I went to counseling, I was just right and open with my counselor. Like, look, listen, like, I do have a lot of great people around me, and I've gotten a lot of great counsel and wisdom.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I'm coming here because at the end of the day, I understand that my perspective is not the only perspective that I need to have.
Right.
And I need to be able to say what I need to say, and you tell me like, okay, I hear what you're saying, but just don't tell me what I want to hear. Like, tell me the truth about what you're hearing. Tell me the truth from your point of view, because you're not in my relationship. You don't have the same feelings I have. And like hearing that from him, like my counselor helped me a lot. I actually need to schedule another appointment. I ain't seen him in like 3 months. But you know, my counselor has helped me a lot. And then, you know, Bree at the same time, that's one of the things too, is like, if we're talking about, you know, how you know it's worth working for, it's like my wife has always been willing, even through our turbulent times, has always been willing to work and change and like grow. Like same with me. So when I knew she was willing to go to counseling as well, when I knew she was willing to like seek counsel and seek wisdom to like get better as a wife as well, that's when I knew. I was like, dude, at the end of the day, this might be hard, but it's gonna be hard with anybody. Yeah. I would love to do it with you. So it's just kind of like, you know, she went to counseling too, and then we ended up going to marriage counseling together. And like just talking through things that was like really traumatic for us in our first couple of years of marriage, you know, and so to just say that to anybody out there, like counseling is not a bad idea,
right?
You know, going to counseling is not a bad thing. It's actually amazing. Like it's an amazing thing to do, and you can learn so much about yourself and who you're with by doing that, and like being able to break down the barriers of communication that you might have and the thoughts that you might have like super important. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I resonate with that quite a bit, just because we talked about this quite a bit, right? So a lot of times we're leading from traumas.
Facts.
We're leading from traumas, right? Like, and we all had our own experiences. Me not having a dad and wanting that, and Mike was talking about just in the last episode, just like, yo, he lost his mom.
Yeah.
Right. And so you're leading, wanting her to want family as much as you want family, and value family, and like the mortality of it all, right?
Right.
We're not here forever.
Right.
And then like both of you guys talking about like leading from a place of like poverty. Like, yo, I was
Right.
in poverty. Like, I had nowhere to live.
Yeah.
I was evicted. I was living under some steps. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I want to make
I was
sure.
Harry Potter living, boy.
Bro, you know what's
I was
funny?
Harry
Every time
Potter
you say
living.
that story, I
You
think
think of
about
him?
I think of Harry Potter.
I've never seen Harry Potter, so I don't know.
That's a real
He was
shame.
living under the steps. But like the steps had like a door. It was
Harry Potter's just never. I was never that guy. But
Okay, in terms of, and I love that we shared what we shared. In terms of marriage, I feel like there's so many conversations around marriage and relationship these days. This is kind of like one of these topics that never get old.
Right.
Yeah.
In terms of actually married men in your 20s, you're about to be 30 like me. We're about to be in the
about to
30
be 30,
club.
man.
I'll
Yeah.
be 32.
Do we feel like in 2024, social media age, etc., that's added a layer of complexity to marriage? Do you feel like it's made marriage harder?
It's
I think it's really hard to answer in absolutes.
Okay.
I do think there are certain situations and instances in which it has. Obviously, I think social media gives an unrealistic expectation of what actual everyday life looks like. I do think that we do live in an age where sound bites are what gets attention, and attention is what gets engagement.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so sometimes the most absurd bullshit is what gets the best soundbite. And that's what gets the most engagement.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so there is a wrong representation of how both men and women should be in relationships based off of those absurd sound bites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've seen podcast clips of girls on OnlyFans talking about how they can be on OnlyFans, but they can also have a husband. And it's the most ridiculous thing in the world.
Yeah. Who made you think that?
Right. But it's just
Society today.
man.
I think there is an element of the modern day world that we live in that there is a little bit of a complexity
Yeah.
that it adds, as long as you absorb it and listen to it and take that as a source of truth. I have been lucky and I have been blessed that I do not have a wife that listens to that shit. Okay? So, and I think it's, for me, it's like I said, I've always been stressed about bills. And I've always, and what I mean by that is always making sure that I'm providing, always making sure that I'm doing what I need to do. I can't tell you how many times I've seen a clip of women saying what they expect their man to make.
Yeah.
And they say something absurd like, oh, he's got to make $500,000 a year.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you really don't understand the reality of what the average man makes.
You could kind of like shut up for real.
Yeah. But it's
We're not listening to you.
But my wife has always loved me for me, and also in the times where I've been stressed about being able to provide, she has actually been a rock for me.
My God.
And she has always said, we're going to be okay.
That's fantastic.
Hey, bro.
Who
Shout
could
out,
love?
yeah.
Who could love you through a layoff?
Yeah, that is. Oh my
Who
God.
And
could
it's like,
Jesus?
I can't even count how many times she has picked up on the fact that I've been stressed. And because of her actual wisdom, she's blasting worship music in the house about how God is a provider.
That's good.
and she prays and she just speaks life over the situation.
Yeah.
I think that is so rare
Yeah.
to find, not just in a wife, but just in a spouse, husband or wife.
Yeah.
I think that level of depth and spiritual maturity is so lacking
Yeah.
in the time that we're living in,
Facts.
because that's healthy, and healthy is not necessarily attractive.
Woo.
And healthy is not necessarily what gets sound bites.
That's the truth, Tyler.
And so we don't live in a day and age where relationships are approached from a level of, no, this is what you need to do. This is what you should do. This is how you should be. And this is how you should carry yourself in a relationship. Because that requires work.
Right.
Whew. On yourself.
That's
On
facts.
yourself. On your
Yeah.
damn self.
Yeah, on
right.
yourself. Not I'm trying to fix you.
No.
Not I'm trying to change you. Not I want you to be better. But it's the work I have to do on
Yes,
me
right.
to
yes.
lift you up when you're down, to
Right.
lift you up when you're broken,
Right.
and lift
Yeah.
you up when you're feeling
Right.
doubtful.
And I just want to be with someone who got it together.
Oh my God.
Amen. Hallelujah.
No, that Tyler, I mean, you that's phenomenal. You
Yeah,
preached
man.
on that. I mean, I've always found it so interesting. Even on like your episode that you did with Day Day, you know, one of the previous episodes you
Yeah.
did. I find it so interesting to see how people date nowadays, right?
Yeah.
Just not saying that I want to be a part of that because I don't, obviously, but
Good
it's just
God, no.
it's just very, because I've never dated as an adult, right? Like making money in tech. Like I've never, like I was with my wife since I was 21.
Mm-hmm.
So like now I'm 29, about to be 30. But it's just like it's I think social media, to your point, Tyler, a lot of that is like what's healthy is lacking. But obviously like what's what's being portrayed out there from the social media models to
Right.
the oh, I want to look like this or have my hair down in my beard. Which is if that's what that woman wants, that's fine,
Yeah.
right? I mean, obviously some guys want that, but it's just what's realistic, to your point, is me having a wife that has been with me through not having a job for some months, right?
Yeah.
Right. What you gonna say to me? Are you gonna are you gonna uplift me? Are you gonna help me? Right, just kind of be there for me. Obviously, I'm on my, is trying to make it, like I am gonna make it work. I'm gonna figure it out. But knowing that, damn, like, all right, I got you in my corner right here. I think that's
Right.
what's rare and what you want in a relationship. So I mean, I can't add on to too much of what you said because I thought that was phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's huge. And in the low times, when I don't have, will you demean and disrespect me?
Right.
What is your character?
What's your
Right.
character like?
That
You want
shows
to
true
know what's
character,
crazy
bro.
is, and I'll be transparent and honest. In 2023, I got laid off twice.
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And it was
Speak on
not due to me being a bad employee. It was due to the economy.
Yeah.
I got laid off twice. I got laid off in the beginning of 2023. And my wife was like, "We're going to be okay." There's no guilt. There was no "you need to do better." There was no unnecessary pressure put on my shoulders. There was, "I'm here with you through this."
Wow.
I got another job soon after that, and I got laid off again towards the end of 2023. Actually, on our wedding anniversary trip, in the middle of the trip,
Yeah.
Jesus.
I got
Jesus.
laid off.
You got to take the call on
I
your
had
trip.
to take the call on my trip. I had to take the call on my trip. My CEO, I was working for a small company that wasn't making a lot of money, and that's why they did a bunch of layoffs in the sales department. He scheduled a meeting for me that morning, and I was on PTO, but I noticed, because I was still working, because I'm like that. I'm, again, trying to provide. So I'm doing a little bit of work here and there, like before I go to bed and all that. And I just noticed I missed a calendar invite that my CEO scheduled. So I had to give him a call, and he laid me off in the middle of the trip.
Man.
Half of the sales department he laid off. I'm not going to get emotional. I really won't. But it is unfair. The love, the warmth, the compassion, and the faith
Yeah.
that my wife carried.
I'm going to get emotional now. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
When I had to walk back into the coffee shop that we were at, and I had to tell her, and I can see it clear as day, how she smiled at me and said, "We're going to be okay." Because she trusts God and she trusts me.
Yeah.
Ooh, in that order.
And I do think I think that quality that she carries has a little bit to do with the fact that our bills have always been paid.
Yeah.
You're gonna make me take a lap in this.
Because I didn't have someone that I'm so spiritually and intimately connected to that didn't have faith for me when I couldn't have faith.
Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine if I was with a woman who was stressed out and put all this pressure on me and was like, how these bills gonna get paid?
Yeah.
And all the bullshit.
Yeah.
How would that have affected me?
Right.
And how would that have affected our marriage? How would that have affected our faith and what we were willing to believe for?
Right.
Yeah.
So,
and you came up better than you were
Oh
then.
my God.
Come on.
Amen.
And
Where I am right now,
well, come on.
Let's talk about a testimony.
and-
it's not even fair.
But
Yeah.
the thing is, are you with somebody
brother.
who has the faith for it?
Right.
The
Right.
faith to believe that you're about to come up better than where you've
Oh
been.
my
Right.
God.
Right?
Right.
And do you deserve to experience the blessing
Right.
after the storm, right?
Right.
Do you have the do you deserve that?
Right.
To walk with me through that? And I think there is, and to Mike's point earlier, right? Like there is nothing like having a woman
Yeah.
who can believe with you, a woman
my God.
who can rock with you, the
Yeah.
woman who can help you grow, help you develop, help you be who God's called you to be your purpose partner. And the truth of the matter is, in my mind, men know who that person is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
We
Of
know what that
course.
is. And sometimes we're afraid to say you're not that person. So we'll just stay with you for a long period of time
Right.
and just deal with it as
Not
much
me.
as we
Yeah.
can possibly.
Not
oh
me.
yeah, well, listen, we know. Good God, okay, but
You ain't the one, girl.
because
All right.
we feel terrible and we know this ain't it. But you're real comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like you in the bed. I like hanging with
That's
you.
part of it.
I
That's
like
part of it.
This,
I mean,
this
I
all
think
of it.
that's
But
90%
I
of it.
know. But I know when the rubber meets the road, you're not gonna ride till the wheels fall
Right.
off.
No. Right.
And
That's
if you
a fact.
can, you don't feel like home.
That's a fact. And I think honestly that's the hard part about social media. Like people don't understand, like, for one, to answer the question, yeah, I do think social media throws in complex, like,
Great, because I forgot the question.
no, facts. I do think that social media like throws in complexities and things like that into relationships because social media always shows the highlights, of course, we know. But
Right.
also social media, like, let's even talk about like the fact that even people who do speak on marriages and relationships, like, though it might be good, is it good for you? You know what I mean? It's like, it's so many different perspectives that doesn't factor in the nuance of how this individual person is, how this relationship is. Like, how is our relationship? Like, okay, I hear what they're saying. That sounds nice. But are we like that? Like, is that what we believe?
Right.
No. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, are you that type of person? No, you're not. Like, it sounds great. That's nice. But it's like, it starts, I think social media, if you're not careful, like, it can start to, like, make you feel like, you know, what this person is saying is law. Like,
Yeah,
what this
you don't know
person-
those people.
Right.
You don't know
Right.
these people. What like, it
Right.
can start to make you feel like, yo, we're not doing this. Like, yo, we're bad. Like, we
Right.
we ain't the same. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, what's so funny, Mike?
No, but that's legit, bro. Because it'd be like
Mike cried.
you're comparing me to people. You're comparing me to people you do not know.
He said a pause.
Did you say pause?
Yo, what are y'all doing?
What did I say, bro?
I'm really
Why
laughing
you-
at Marseille.
Oh.
I'm really laughing at Marseille
listen.
over here, bro.
So overall, what I was just saying is just the fact that there are way different perspectives out there, and like people need to understand, like, yo, this may not apply to me. You know what I
Right.
mean? And it's like, it just takes maturity in that person to say, like, okay, sure, what they're saying is what they're saying, but
Right.
that don't apply to what we got going on.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that don't apply to our situation.
Right.
And I think so often the natural inclination of people is like to try to, you know, if it looks good, like, why we're not doing that? You know what I mean? And it's just kind of like, yo, Yeah, I mean, it's just like, okay, these people are doing this at this moment in time, but you don't know what they did to get up to this point.
That's right.
You
Great
don't know.
point.
You don't know what they've gone through to get to this point. You don't know, you don't know what they might be going through even still in this moment. They just
Right.
showing this
Yep.
moment. So
Of
it's
course.
like it's the battle of like not comparing your marriage and your relationship and what you have going on to what other people have going on who have a whole lot more experience, who've been through a whole lot more stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so
Or
think,
you're seeing a snippet of what
Exactly.
their life is.
Exactly.
And I
Yeah.
think is what's really important
Yeah.
is that you have a model.
facts.
Who is your model for what marriage looks
That's
like
so
in
good,
your
bro.
life?
That's so good.
Right.
Right? And are you comparing your I want a power couple. I want to be Jay-Z and Beyonce. You don't know those people.
Right.
But
Right.
also,
At
you
all.
ain't them.
all.
You're not.
You don't
You're
even
not.
have the work ethic to be them.
Not at all.
And you
This
think
is
you
so
are.
pivotal, bro.
And you're absolutely not.
That's
and,
crazy.
and there's all these different people, and then you're so heartbroken when Jeezy and Jeannie get a divorce because my people, oh my God, they're an interracial couple like us, and we're gonna be just like them. You don't know those people.
Exactly.
At
Yeah.
all.
Right.
And the reason why you're so heartbroken, oh my God, Megan Good, Devon Franklin, I read the weight. My wife was this person. I read the weight, and oh my God, I really wanted a marriage like them. That's why I waited to marry. And she's like, but just it's just like
Part of that is the romantic element
it's,
that
it's
they have.
you're
Yeah.
romanticizing,
Right.
and you don't know those people,
Right. Bro.
And it's like, can you find a couple that's been married a little while, that's been doing it a little while,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you can sit with and feel how much, like, how'd you do it?
Yep.
How'd you do it?
I need to know that.
And
what's-
can you listen to them when they
I
tell
want
you
that
you're
wisdom.
doing this
Yeah.
wrong?
That is
I
a
want that
fact.
wisdom.
This part of your relationship you need to change.
Like, what do I need to do? Yeah. No.
Yeah.
So about the initial question, I know you, but my mom used to always say, "Don't never compare and compete." And
A married woman.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
no, well, but that was in life in general though, right? Because I feel like what social media does is
Yeah.
a comparison tool. So to your
Right.
point, it's not an absolute because there are values that social media brings.
Right, right,
Like,
right,
we
for
want
sure.
several subscribers to the Speakeasy, and social media's gonna help us do that, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
right. So,
Amen. Hallelujah.
So there are values to it, but I think so. As we all know, comparison is the it steals all type of joy.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No,
part.
you're right on the money. I remember sitting with a couple, and we just recently, and I was telling you about this, Mike. We were sitting with a couple. They've been married 30 plus years.
Yep.
Shout out to the Pages.
Yeah.
We love y'all, right? Y'all are like aunties and uncles to us,
love the
right?
Pages,
We
man.
absolutely
Love
love
the
y'all.
Pages.
30 plus years. You know what I'm saying? They from New York. They as gritty
That's
as it can
seasoned right
be,
there.
but
Yeah.
they are the best of friends.
Right.
They got 3 college age boys, right? And we're sitting across having dinner with them, and they're telling us their story, and we're talking about life and our dreams and all the things. And the truth of the matter is, how they loved each other is, and how they stay in love with one another, and how they stay married is being incredibly kind to one another.
Yeah.
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 There is no book called The Wait. They had sex before marriage, I'm pretty sure. I'm sorry for all the Christians watching. I'm sure they
Yeah.
got it down. They did get it down. They got down
They got
before
3 boys.
marriage. Hey, listen,
They got 3 boys.
some of us did as well. And the point is, that's not a foolproof way to stay married.
right.
It's not.
It's
Right.
Yep.
how do I be a really good friend to you?
Right.
How do I
Right.
love you for better, for worse?
Right.
How do I get you to back? And how do I tolerate your mess and your dysfunction? And how do I, in spite of all of that, be incredibly kind to you?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you'll realize how people get to that point if you do life with them.
Yeah.
Right.
Not see them on social media.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
I think to
Right.
that point too, to both your points, I think that comparison does rob you of joy.
Absolutely.
And I do think that when you look at other people's posts on Instagram, you really don't know what they're going through.
At all.
At all.
I think, and for me personally, it's a terrible perspective to look at somebody else's life and look at somebody else's marriage on Instagram or what they post, Valentine's Day post or whatever the hell it is.
Whatever it is.
And it's just like, wow, I want that for me.
Yeah.
When in reality, it's like, I want Yasmina.
Yeah.
Yep.
First of all, I don't think, this is genuinely what I believe. For anybody who believes this, I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but there's no such thing as a soulmate.
Tell the truth.
Where
shame
there
the
is
devil.
one person for
Interesting.
you. There is one person for you, and that is the person that you are destined to be with. No,
Unpopular opinion alert. Here we go.
mathematically
Let's just
speaking,
tell the truth, shame the devil for
mathematically
real.
speaking, statistically speaking, that's not even possible. Based on how many men there are on the planet, how many women there are on the planet, and the likelihood of me finding another woman in Spain or in Italy or in Utah that I could possibly fall in love with and have a very successful marriage with and be very happy with. It is very possible that I could be with some other girl. I can pick some other girl and Yasmina could pick some other guy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the love comes in when I say, I could have somebody else, but I pick you.
Right.
I
Amen,
pick
Tyler.
you. I could have another girl, but I pick you. I pick you today.
Every day.
I pick you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Pick
And
you
I pick
yesterday.
you for the rest of my life.
in your crap, in your
In
mess,
your crap,
in your
in the issues that you got to deal with, and
Amen.
and how dare I pick you and look at somebody else on social media and be envious of what they got?
We got
I
somebody
didn't
on
pick.
the organ.
I didn't pick that woman.
Who got the organ?
I picked you.
Yeah.
And so where we are, it's about me and you. It's not about where they are on
Yeah.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
it's
facts.
not about where they are when they're traveling. It's about me and you right here and what we're doing to build our life together.
Take heed to what my boy Tyler's saying. That's
And so-
facts.
Hallelujah.
I think
Praise
it's
God, I promise you.
yeah, I think to be honest, looking at other people's life on social media can get dangerous
Very.
if you can't have that perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do think, going off of what you said, it is very important how you treat each other.
Absolutely.
If you can't be nice to me and I can't be nice to you, then we're just gonna have this relationship where we're tit for tat and we going back and forth with each other. And I ain't gonna like you. We're just gonna be mean.
Yeah. That doesn't sound fun.
How
At
you
all.
treat each other really
sound
does
fun to me.
matter.
Yeah.
And I do think we live in a day and age where people don't understand that liking the person you're with is just as important with loving the person that you're with.
Amen.
You can feel stuck with someone that you love, but you really don't like them for real.
Yeah. And I
Tyler.
refuse to be with somebody that I don't like.
Yeah.
I refuse.
I can't
and
do it.
Now, in all fairness, there are times where I don't like her.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like,
be
well,
fact.
we're not gonna
Let's
be
tell
crazy. You know, there's times where I don't like
Right.
you,
Right.
and times where I don't necessarily feel,
Right.
Yeah.
feel is
Right.
the word here,
Right.
that I love you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have the maturity and the wisdom to realize, but we got to fix this.
We have to.
Right.
We're doing this thing together.
Right.
And so that's where really discipline comes in,
Right.
in that conscious, intentional choice
Right.
of
Right.
I'm choosing you.
Yeah.
I choose you.
Facts.
Because they're just like when you got laid off. When me and Kira got married, I didn't have a job.
Right.
I got laid off once the company I was working for heard about COVID. They heard.
How do we save money?
They heard COVID might lose them money. Okay, they were like, "Oh, okay, COVID might cost us money." People,
Right.
and I was working as a property manager. People might stop leasing apartments as much because they'll be afraid of being around people. Okay, let me just eliminate all these. And my position was eliminated.
Yeah.
So I'm going into marriage conversations with parents and all these things jobless.
Right.
And I'm with a woman who saw me, sees me, and said, "I know you're gonna do it. I know you're gonna come. I know you're gonna
Right.
pick yourself back up. I know you're gonna make more money than you've ever made." Like,
Yeah.
she chose me when
Yeah.
she probably could have chosen to say no to my proposal.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Bro, let's be honest, bro. Oh, I love that you said that, bro, because when we talk about marriage being hard, like marriage is hard because you literally, like, every day you have to choose this person.
My God.
Like,
Every
it
day.
ain't, like, you know, it's all cookies and cream, like, in the beginning when everything is all high, when everybody's high on love and like, and everything's all great, all the juices are flowing.
Yeah,
It's like,
beginning
bro,
to be
it's
sex
so-
two
it's-
times a
Good.
day.
Honeymoon, boy.
it's easy money,
I
but
love
bro,
Sometimes it's still like
when
that now.
When you get to,
Seasons.
Facts.
Seasons of that. Let me seasons of that for sure.
Listen,
And
but
sometimes, yeah.
that's true. So,
Yeah.
but it's like when you realize, like, at the end of the day, this is a commitment. I have to choose this person every day.
Right.
Like, they ain't going nowhere.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? I mean, you have to choose the fact that, yo, this is the same person. This is the same person I chose yesterday. I got to choose this person tomorrow, the next day after that, the next day after that, no matter what happens. Like,
Right.
that be another hard part of marriage where it's just
Right.
like, yo, like, this ain't no reneging. I can't
Right.
choose nobody else.
Right.
Like, nah, bro, this is
Right.
the cards that I'm dealt. I got to deal with these cards every single day. I got to
Right.
find a way to win with my partner every
Right.
single day. You know, and so, like, people don't understand that. It's like, that's the easy part about being single, is like when you feel like this person is kind of, you know, played out, or you don't really rock with them as much as you did, and your feelings ain't really feeling the same.
I'm out.
It's like you could just, hey, it's easy money. No,
Yeah.
when you marry, your feelings
Right.
That's a word.
that don't just
Right.
change, bro. Like, your feelings can waver,
Right.
your moods
Yeah.
can change. Like,
Right.
somebody can do something that bothers you so much where you just like,
Right.
I don't really rock with you today. But you have to
Right.
choose to, like, say, like,
Right.
all right, above what I feel,
Right.
I need to do what's best for my commitment in
Right.
this marriage and get us back to a place
Right.
where we're right, because I committed to this.
And go ahead.
Yeah.
I think that what's great about what you just said
Yeah.
is that the world that we live in makes overcorrections
Yep.
to where it's either commitment or it's pleasure,
Right.
and there's no middle.
Right.
And we learned this from Pastor Andy, that it used to be that back in the day, people would get married in an arranged marriage.
Yeah.
And they might not have necessarily liked each other.
we should talk about this one day.
They
'cause
might not have necessarily.
I'm not totally against arranged marriages.
I'm not either. But
Okay.
they might not have necessarily chose each other for themselves, but their families said it's a good idea for you guys to get married so our families can unite and become stronger. And they got married, king and queen, and they might not have necessarily liked each other, but they stayed together.
And they grown to like each other.
And they ended up because
Yeah.
there was an understanding that there's a commitment here. I think now we live in a time where commitment is not necessarily as valued and pleasure is.
Yeah. Facts.
And so when
preaching.
when the going get tough, the tough don't get going.
Bro,
Wow.
When the going get tough, it's
Tell the
like, well,
truth,
I don't
Tyler.
need to deal with this.
tell the truth.
If I lose my job twice, my wife could be like, well, I don't need to deal with this. I should be with the man who got things together and will provide for me. And so I'm out.
Tyler, you got bars today.
Yeah, like you really got bars. Bro.
You got bars.
But the
bro.
reality of it
Facts,
is that there actually should be a middle ground where it is you need to like each other,
Yep.
you need to value each other,
Yep.
you need to serve each other
Yep.
and sacrifice for each other.
Yep.
But you also need to understand that you all made a commitment to each other.
Yep.
That I choose you and whatever comes with you
Hey.
is what I choose.
Where the
That's my
offering plate?
battle
Where the
I choose to
offering plate?
have.
Give me a cup and put a quarter in there.
Not a quarter. That's trifling. That's a real trash offering.
No, that's good though.
Dude, moment of silence. No, but the choice at the end of the day, right? As you're saying, it is a commitment.
It is.
The good, the bad, the ugly, it's a commitment. And that's why it's really important to
Right.
like who you choose in the
Yeah.
beginning.
Right. Yeah.
For better or worse, is for real.
Because the truth of the matter is, and I was saying this on the podcast with Day, is girlfriend's the best it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Girlfriend, boyfriend is the best it's gonna be.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
performance
We
level.
all talk about, we're all performing at the time. At
Right,
that
the
time,
performance level.
we're bringing our best self
Yep.
to the table.
Right, yep, right.
We're dating all the time. We're
Yep.
having fun, and there's no stipulations, no pressure, no leverage. You know what I'm saying? She ain't got no ring. She can't take out my money. She
And
can't
how
put
you
me on
feel
child
is so
support.
free. Like you
Right.
just feel like your feelings are easy. Like it's just easy to just
Right.
like love this person and like this person, bro. Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah.
It's easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why the heck? If it's terrible while we're just boyfriend and girlfriend, would I marry you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why would I make a commitment? Because when we're married, I gotta like you hot, cold.
Yep.
I
Right.
gotta like
Yep.
you your best, your worst.
Yep.
I gotta like you
Yep.
in the good and the bad, for better or for worse, sickness or health,
Yep.
richer
Yeah.
for poorer,
Yep.
till death do us part.
Amen.
If I don't like you while we boyfriend and girlfriend, why the hell
Nah, facts.
would I get married to you?
Let's be real.
Why would I then put all of anything I ever built in your hands? And
Yeah.
why would I put somebody who's vindictive while we're dating
Yeah.
and give them a child?
Right. Because that's what you're familiar with, and what you end up being familiar with is what you end up accepting.
Nah, bro,
It don't get better than this.
Like y'all people don't understand that like marriage is listening to the same song every single day.
Every
like
day.
eating the same meal like
I mean,
that song,
if it's a
that's-
Drake song, I
that's-
don't mind it though.
No,
Here we
listen,
go.
listen.
But that's why you choose Drake.
Even
Yeah.
then,
That's why-
exactly.
But that's
even
why
then,
you-
it's like, bro, you like that song when it first came. You remember
Right.
how that song made you feel when it first came out. Now when you listen to it, you rock with it, but it's just kind of like it ain't as. It ain't
Right.
as exhilarating as it was when
Right.
you first heard it. So it's
Right.
just kind of like you listen to the same song every day.
Right.
You got to understand, like, okay, when I really don't want to hear this song no more,
Right.
I got to figure out, all right, well, shoot, I got to throw a party where this song gonna bump again, where people gonna be hype with me, you know what I mean? Like, you got to figure out ways to flavor that song up.
But
you know?
and what's great about your
Yeah.
analogy
Yeah.
is when life hits.
Yeah.
You know that song's gonna put you right where you
Amen.
want to be.
Amen.
It's gonna make you remember the
Yeah.
good times. It's
Yeah.
gonna make you remember the time when you first heard it,
That's
and
it.
it's gonna
Right.
make you groove like
That's
you used
it.
to
Right.
groove.
That's
And,
it.
and
Right.
because it's my favorite
That's it.
song.
That's it.
Sometimes I might get tired of it. Sometimes
Yeah.
I don't want to hear this
Right.
song.
Right.
That might be true. And there's some other songs that came out, but
Right.
those new songs don't hit like the song
They
that
don't.
got me through.
They don't.
That's
They
those
don't.
songs don't
Yeah.
hit like the songs that
Right.
feel like home.
Amen.
That's good.
That's good, bro.
And that's what's powerful about making the right choice.
Right.
Right.
Because
Right.
you sometimes you don't necessarily like the choice.
right.
Sometimes you don't feel like you love the choice. But when the rubber meets the road and when life happens, you're gonna be real glad you made that choice.
Right.
Amen.
And I think that's life. That's not just marriage, that's life.
That's this community.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry because, and I wanna, and to your point, Mike, right? Like, without the right community, I would not have made the right choice.
Right.
Facts.
Right.
Facts.
And even when you got with Zach and when you decided you was going to marry her, we weren't and you weren't in the same situation. We weren't as
Yeah.
close.
Yeah.
But what you said was, I saw marriage.
Yeah.
And I saw myself in it.
Yeah.
Right.
And for us, y'all pretty much jumped me into choosing mine.
Facts.
And we were all a part to some degree
Right.
in each other's choices.
And we trusted each other's
Yeah.
feedback.
And made
We
made
did.
sure we didn't make the wrong decision.
Right.
We talked each other out of stupid decisions.
Right. Right. Hold each other
We still do.
accountable.
Hold each other
each other
against
accountable.
We still do.
hard conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we say so, and what I'm gonna love about the Speakeasy in general and the transition that we're making and being able to have conversations like this more, it's we're silly and we're a mess
Yeah,
and we
yeah.
have a good time, but at the end of the day, we're serious about all of us becoming everything God's called us to be,
Amen.
Right.
and making sure that we grow our families and keep
Right.
our families and develop our kids.
Yeah.
And
Right.
we all, I mean, exception of Thailand, we'll see when that comes. Hopefully it comes soon. But like, we got sons
Right.
bro.
to build.
Yeah, bro.
Right.
And legacies to leave.
Right. And I think one of the things I appreciate so much about the relationship that we all have with each other is that my job as your friend is to be that for you.
Yeah.
It is my job as your friend to make sure that I'm doing what I need to do to serve you in becoming who I believe
Facts.
God's called you to be. Yeah. And it is so rare for men to be able to find that.
Yeah.
It is rare. It is rare for men to be, and to be honest with you, that's a huge reason as to why I have not gone into spiraling thoughts of depression.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Because as a man, and all of the challenges that you deal with every day as a man, really the only other people who understand what you're going through is other men.
Other man.
Facts.
That's it.
And it's like,
That's it.
it is unfair to be in relationship with other men who can understand what you're going through and feel called and feel obligated to love you in such a way that they see their relationship to you as a service.
Yeah.
My job is to serve you and do what I need to do to help you become who God has called you to be.
Yeah.
And I think, to be real, man, that has been such a help for me in so many different seasons of my life, because I feel like I really am not alone. There are other dudes around me who see me and see what I'm going through, and I actually feel like I'm not alone.
Yep.
I love y'all, man.
Yeah.
I love y'all, man.
I love you. All my brothers.
And
My dogs, for sure.
I am. This is confirmation to me about the direction of where we're going with the Speakeasy, man.
Yeah.
Because I would not be who I am, where I am, without the help and the support and the guidance and the wisdom and the accountability from my brothers.
Right.
Now, I have to be my own. I have to motivate myself. I have to be disciplined. I have to
Right.
do what I got to do at the end of the day. Y'all ain't with me when I'm working. Y'all ain't with me and when I'm in bed with my wife and in the argument with my wife and all the things, right? Like, but I'm really grateful that we have each other.
Right.
And family, if you're listening, I'm grateful that you're here. And the reason why we're doing this is because we don't want y'all to be outside the club looking at it. We want you guys to join our family.
Right.
Sit on the couch with us.
Right.
Be a part of the community. Follow, subscribe, comment. We want to bring you in. Who knows? Maybe one of y'all might be on the couch soon. Who knows what's going to happen?
Right.
But we want you guys to be a part of our family, our tribe, our community, and we want to elevate and we want to add fuel and bring life to the community that you have today. And so, yo, don't you just listen. Bring your boy, bring your girl.
Share this with your guys.
Share this. Come on in. We love y'all, man. But welcome to the Speakeasy. This is what we do. This is the fulfillment of the vision of this podcast.
And it's just the beginning.
man.
And it's
Hey,
just
that's
the
the beginning.
beginning.
Just the
Y'all
beginning.
join
It's
the
just-
Speakeasy today.
Yeah.
Y'all join this mug. Hey, we
Yeah,
gonna be
sir.
talking.
We
gonna be
love
talking,
y'all.
man.
We love y'all. We love y'all. We'll see y'all next week.
Peace out.
Peace out.